Comrades, I have the honor now to introduce to you the champion. To introduce to you the champion of the earth. To bring to you the man who has said to the joint opposition, bring it on, I am ready to defend my records. Comrades, put your hands together and welcome Comrade Bharrat Jagdeo.
They can never compete with us. With our love and positive energy and the strength of our commitment, and they can never compete with us on our dreams. I want to tell you a little story. A few years back, I visited Buxton to open the Tipperary Hall. And at that time, Odinga Lumumba was with me. And the top brass of the PNC was sitting in the audience. And when Odinga Lumumba got up to speak, he said, I'm not going to call the person's name, Mr. X, I'm accusing you today of child labor. So the person got very surprised. He was visibly shocked, the PNC top brass. And Odinga said, I'm accusing you of child labor because when I was 14 years old, you made me vote 34 times. And he said, I ate so many buns and soft drinks because every time I voted, I got a bun and a soft drink. If we need any more testimony that elections were rigged in this country, we have it here in Odinga Lumumba. He can testify to grandeur. And I'm sure that your experiences, the experiences of thousands of people who had to live through that era, can testify to this. And why do I say this? Why has it become such a big issue about whether elections were rigged or not? Because it concerns the question, first of all, of freedom in this country. That we had to fight to regain freedom. But more importantly, it testifies to the character and the nature of Granger, a man who seeks to be the president of all of the people of this country. If a man who seeks that high office in 2015 can say elections were never rigged in Guyana, then three things we can discern about him. He lacks the decency to admit the truth. he's unrepentant about the past, or he is delusional. And any one of those characteristics will be bad for this country, because we can't have a president in this country who lies, who is delusional, and is unrepentant about the past. Because he will deny, when your rights are taken away in the future, he will deny them too, and it wouldn't even bother him, because he denies a fact of history that everyone knows about so cavalierly. And that is why today we have to make sure that we understand the nature of the people who are contesting. When we go back home from the rallies, we must spare a thought about the future. And so I want to say to you about the dangers that we are facing. 3 years now, GCOM has been preparing a new voters list. Several cycles of registration, several cycles of claims and objection. The PPP raised issues about this. We were told that we are scared of elections. We didn't want elections. That's why we're raising issues about some elements of the list. We worked through that. But a week ago, Granger, for the first time after 3 years, he now says that the list is flawed. And you know why he's saying this? Because he's seen the PPP juggernaut being mobilized. He has seen us marching now. For 3 years, we have taken their abuse and we have stayed quiet. And they think we are cowardly because we have stayed quiet. For 3 years. For 3 years, they have harassed our government. They have done everything to sabotage progress, and we have stayed quiet. Well, we shall be quiet no longer. We shall be quiet no longer. And they have seen the might of the PPP family. The family that is mobilized. Babu Jan sent shockwaves through the PNC camp. And all the big talk that they had, they were telling their base that they're going to win these elections outright. Suddenly, they have doubts. And because they have doubts, they are preparing, they're talking about the list again. Because 3 elections in the past, they have used the list to create violence in this country. We have to guard against this. But let me tell you, these are not the days of the past. These are not the days of the past when we'll take violence sitting down. The people of this country are liberated now. And that is why we have to be careful about the danger sign. They're worried once again about this is happening. We have seen what they can do. In a few years back, Nangamutu and Nigel Hughes, they gave the president an ultimatum. They said by midnight, you have to get rid of Rohi or there will be consequences. Now, just imagine this. They're giving the elected president of our country an ultimatum. Of course, the president ignored them. By the next afternoon, thugs were mobilized and we had agriculture. They blocked the roads, beat up people. Women couldn't pass there who live on the East Bank. People couldn't go back home across the river. Babies were crying on the streets because they couldn't get to their families. Women were pulled out of vehicles and harassed. And guess what? They have the capacity to do this. Nagamutu doesn't speak about that because it was his and Nigel Hughes' ultimatum that triggered what happened in agriculture. And they're counting on us having short memories. The elections violence of the past were all triggered by the opposition. So we don't have to go back to 28 years in the opposition to see the nature of the PNC. The nature of the animal has not changed. It is highly militaristic, it is criminal in purpose, and it will use violence to achieve its means. So, comrades, when we decide to vote in the future, I want you to think about this, that we're voting to avoid that kind of future. A future when people of that nature takes power, because when they have power, they'll be able to do anything in this country as they have done in the past with impunity. I ask you to look at Nagamotu. Nagamotu, yesterday I had a press conference, and first of all, I responded to Truckman. Truckman giving me advice to stay out the race. You think I should stay out this race? I am back with the PPP family. In fact, I never left. I've just been around the place. But he wants me to stay out the race so that they can continue to perpetrate the lies about our history and on our record. But let me tell Truckman something, that I will be part of this race. I am supporting the People's Progressive Party. I will put every bit of energy and strength that I have in my body to make sure that Ramatar remains the president of our country and in the becomes the prime minister. And I don't want a position, I don't need a position in the government to have to commit to that cause, because I know with the two of them there, this country and its future will be safe. The comrades, Nagamotu goes often on the platform and he says a lot of disparaging things. Let me tell you what Granger has done with Nagamotu. He has put a prime ministerial comforter in his mouth. And so whilst he is sucking on this potential prime minister comforter, he has forgotten the violence of PNC elections. He has forgotten that the elections were rigged. He's moved away from every single principle in the past. And you heard what he said. Now, I agree that we're all Guyanese, but he says he's not Indian. And he promised publicly to take 11% Indians to the PNC. How can you not be Indian and you promise to take 11% of the Indians to the PNC? This is not about being Indian. It's not about being Afro-Guyanese. It's not about being Amerindian or any other race. It is about the future of Guyana. The comrades, we need to make sure that Nagamotu does not get away with his rhetoric. Let me tell you something. In spite of all their charges about corruption, in spite of all their negativities, we stand with our head held high. Because we can compete on our history, we can compete on our record. You tell me the area of government and I will tell you in great detail about the changes that we have brought to that area. I can do that in great detail. A platform, a rally is not a chance to do that. But we will have many other opportunities to find out. And I ask you to read too, to make sure you're informed, not to be sucked in by the negative media, because we have 2 or 3 media houses that if we tomorrow change this country in an unrecognizable way, in a way that every person's problems is solved, they will find something negative about us. So we need to ensure that when we read, we seek out the sources of information that are positive, that really shows us how we have changed this country. Today, I'm really proud about our history. We have consistently fought for national unity. National unity doesn't come about because you take 2 rejects from the PPP and put them in a platform. National unity can't come about if you cut the $80 billion from the budget. National unity can't come about if you sabotage the Mila Fault, which will bring cheaper electricity to people. National unity can't come about if you take away money from students whilst you're promising free education. National unity can't come about if you don't want to support the sugar industry when they go in crisis, but all along when they were contributing positively to the treasury, you didn't say anything. National unity can't come about if you don't want to support the rice industry. National unity can't come about because if every opportunity you see race in everything, that people's race, you don't see the nature of their worth, but their race. National unity can only come about if you respect people of all races, you respect their religion. And I dare say, only one party can do that. That is the People's Progressive Party. Not Nagamotu, not Nagamotu, not any of the others. They will work to sabotage everything. I have spoken publicly about Granger living in a different era, and that is very dangerous. So imagine there was a time when this country couldn't get any investments because it was so insular. It chased away all the investors. Our national wealth cannot sustain the investment needs of this country to move it forward. So we have to keep this country open to investors from all around the world, whilst ensuring that they contribute to the upliftment of our people. But he's already started threatening the investors. When the United States of America seeks investors, when Canada seeks investors, although they're developed countries, Granger has started chasing away the investors. You know what's going to happen? I predict if they were to win 3 years after that, we will have the exchange rate going to 500 to 1. They will eat up all the money that we have in the central bank because that's their way of doing things. They'll eat it up. The interest rates are going to skyrocket again, and then you would have a mass exodus like in the past from this country, so that the U.S. Embassy will have to clamp down once again on issuing visas. Now they're quite liberal with issuing visas because people don't go away, all of them, and stay. They themselves said people go abroad. Of the 51,000 people who got visas, 48,000 came back. Well, in the future, you put the PNCN in, and with their philosophy of development, you will see what will happen in this country. They've already started threatening the businessmen that if you don't give us money for our campaign, they have a gang going around threatening business people, then when we get into office, we're going to deal with you. That is the nature of the beast. And it's not only on the economic side that we are going to get wiped out again. It's not only on the economic side, but the comrades who spoke before me have spoken about the danger of having people who are tainted run our security sector. And, you know, I was thinking again, in my quiet moments about this earring thing, the crumb earring thing. And whether he was a patriot or a criminal, he does not deserve to die. Does not. Whether a patriot or a criminal, nobody should take anyone's life in this country. But I was thinking again, and I think this point has been made about who benefits from this. Who benefits from this? Definitely not the PPP. We've had the Kaichor news cussing us every day, and nobody bothers them. We have had people done worse than walk around with a loud hailer cussing the PPP, and nobody has touched them in this country. They're on TV every day. But who benefits from this? And then I couldn't help but thinking, it sounds like a military thing. Why would you, if this was an ex-soldier, they want ex-soldiers and policemen to get angry with us. They want to go around using this to carry the whisper campaign to the Afro-Guyanese villages like they did in 2011. To say, you see the people kill this man. They need something to whisper about, to mobilize people about. Now, the police need to find out urgently who did this. And I'm telling you, if they do that, you'd probably be shocked to find out who killed this guy. But they need things to campaign on, their messages of racism. So we can't be a docile society. We can't just go around happily and think that these people are benign, they're good. Nice old grandfather Granger wouldn't do anything. They're very dangerous. Dangerous, not because he is who he is, because as a Guyanese, I would always respect Granger and everyone else as a Guyanese. But because of his philosophy, because of his policies, because of his unrepentant past, it is very dangerous. So today, it's not just about jumping up at this rally. It is about our future. It's about the future that we want to build. It is about how much we are willing to give over the next 45 days to protect that future. And we need all of you to give. Not just the people on this platform to go to meetings. We need all of you to give. There are people among us who have succumbed to their propaganda. Some who may say, I don't want to go out. Some say we win already. We needed you to bring out everyone. Every single one of you must become an activist. Every single one of you to become an activist. So, am I getting a promise that when you go back home from tomorrow, like I would do, like all of us would do, you'd go to your neighbor and your friends, call your friends, and go on Facebook and encourage every single person to come out on election day and ensure that the PPP wins another redounding victory. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.